before we get started, we do have a fair few on. So just with the chat, just a bit of Zoom stuff. If you've got any questions at any time, please put them into the chat. This is being presented by myself, who's the Cloud A2K technical consultant. We also have on our Q&A panel, we have Andrew Hill, who is our Cloud A2K business manager. And we also have Michael Bucknell, and he's the Bluebeam channel account manager for APAC. They'll be monitoring the chat and answering any questions through there. I will also have a look at that as we go. Just for interest as well, this is being recorded, so we can catch up on that, or links will be sent out and you can forward the links on, etc. A little bit about Cloud A2K. So we're a company which fosters innovation through delivering both software and hardware solutions. We do consulting, training, development, and managed services. We do have a highly knowledgeable, and we like to pride ourselves that they're industry experienced staff from the AEC fields, infrastructure and manufacturing sectors. And we like to help you deliver your project outcomes and have that point of difference from the competition. About Bluebeam. Bluebeam is a digital platform which will enable you to increase your revenue, reduce your costs, and minimize risk. There are over 1.6 million design and construction professionals worldwide using Bluebeam every day to mark up, collaborate, and get things done. It was founded in 2002. We'll have well over 1.6 million users now around the globe. There are a very active Bluebeam user groups, which are set up in a lot of cities around the world, where they share ideas, how-tos, etc. And it is used by over 90% of the top Australian and New Zealand contractors. A little bit about myself. I have a structural engineering associate diploma. Like I said, we do like to pride ourselves that we do have people that have come from industry. So I have been in the industry for over 25 years. I've worked at a lot of tier 1, mid-tier and smaller consultancies. I have been using Bluebeam for nearly 8 years now. Revit, Navisworks, etc. I am on LinkedIn if you do want to have a look at some more of my work history through there. I am a certified Bluebeam trainer and do a lot of presentations in the industry. XCon is on next week, which is the Bluebeam conference. It is in America, so the time zones aren't great, but if you do register, you can access all the recordings. So definitely worth looking at the XCon conference, which is on next week. And today we're really going through project collaboration. So I'm just going to show a few workflows and what it currently is and how Bluebeam can really help those collaborations. So we have our standard project where we're dealing with the owner, the architect, and they engage the building contractor. We then go through and the architect engages that engineer. That engineer will then have their team of engineers. So they'll have their experts on each, like geotech, etc. The engineer also needs to engage like a mechanical engineer and also like a sustainability engineer, or etc. They also have their teams of engineers. So you're starting to see how there's a lot of groups that are really being engaged here. Also, the architect will have a team of architects, and the contractor will also have his team. From that, that's before you even get onto site, where you'll have the site manager. You'll also have your your plumbing coordinator, your construction manager, your groundwork manager, etc. And they all have their teams. So you're starting to see how a normal project really expands from just the 3 parties to a host of people. There will usually be a group of owners as well. And all these people are using different forms to communicate. So they'll communicate between each other, then all by using sort of documents, etc. You'll also have communication through the architect where they might be using PDFs, and the engineers all using, again, different forms of like Excel, PDF, documents, etc. And again, that is even before you get to the contractors and all that inter-collaboration between the engineers and the contractors dealing with documents and different forms of communication, such as paper, PDFs, and verbally. And this is before you even get to the numerous meetings, phone calls, and emails. So you can see that there's a lot of communication between a lot of parties, all using different forms of communication. What this leads to is fragmented collaboration. And this results in delays, lost information, redundant work, and confusion, which decreases your productivity, decreases the predictability, so you don't know what's going to happen and when it's going to happen. And it also increases the risk on the project, risk of cost overruns, time overruns, all that. So what we want to do is really get everyone on that same page, so we can get that project efficiency and collaboration solution, which is specifically built for the construction industry. It is a universal file format with versatile capabilities, and this will lead to increased revenue, reduced cost, and minimize risks. You can have in that PDF all your metadata, hyperlinks, bookmarks, file attachment images, and even 3D data. That is all contained in that PDF format. We start now speaking the same language. So we're all using that PDF to communicate, and everyone is familiar with that source of information, and it really helps sort of getting rid of all that fluff. So we're really going from a stack of drawings where you'd usually have roles and piles, and then you'd have specifications, etc., to a very small digital where you can have all that information at hand. This really results in it being more efficient, so you can create reports out of those marked up PDFs and get all that information out. We can easily import comments into a master file, which can be stored for legacy reasons, etc. And you're no longer transferring data between different file types, which can lead to data disintegration, etc., and corruption. So this is providing less risk. So the feedback is all centralized in one location, which improves that coordination. The drawback is that it's just digital paper. So it's still a little bit inefficient. So we're reviewing and mark up multiple copies of the one document. We need to track down the missing comments from stakeholders. We also need to sort of combine all those documents into a master file and then redistribute that file. A lot of the comments are commonly made in isolation. So again, this gives you many documents to keep track of, and it's very difficult to know if others have received or noticed the feedback that they need. So this is where project collaboration comes into it. What this does is, and it's really the only PDF-based real-time collaboration solution. And everyone, instead of one PDF being distributed and being used locally, we are all now being engaged on that one PDF. And we can all access that PDF at the same time and all put our input and access that relevant information. This is done using Bluebeam Studio and the sessions in particular. And it's a cloud-based capability within Revu that allows for your teams to review documents and collaborate in real time. So it's really harnessing that cloud-based capability and allowing everyone to access the single document together. There are also studio projects, and this provides a cloud-based single centralized location to store documents within Revu. It is file agnostic, so it can host video files, Word documents, etc. So it really is cloud storage. Just a few of the points about both studios and projects. So attendees on a session can be up to 500, where on projects it is unlimited. The files, you can upload up to 5,000 files in a session, and in a project it is unlimited. Again, projects use any file format, where sessions are particularly based on PDFs. You can see there, like particularly in projects, the files are unlimited. The markups can be unlimited, and how much space you use is unlimited as well. You will see a little asterisk there. That's really just pointing out, like, obviously, if you do get a project that's up around 10 gig, which is quite large, obviously, it may just result in it working a bit slower. So it is unlimited, but if you're obviously putting up 200 gig of information, it's going to slow you down a little bit. You can manage the rights of access. So generally through the email addresses, you can either give more information. So you can give them read-write access, just read access. You can also hide like folders in projects as well. If, for instance, the site manager doesn't really need to know like the photos, so you can hide different information, the same as like the marketing information and things like that. You can put up previous revisions, particularly in projects. You can access superseded files and files that have been amended. You can go back and access the original documents. You can also send and receive notifications about the file and user activity, and you can send alerts to attendees. One of the great things to point out at the bottom there, I always think it's a bit funny because it's just pointed out at the bottom, but I think it's a great feature where all attendees do not need a licensed copy of Revu. So Bluebeam really uses that to give you, as like sort of a head contractor, that confidence that you can send it to the plumber or the carpenter, etc. And even if they don't have a licensed copy of Revu, they can participate fully in a session and access all documents on the project. It's a great feature where you don't have to worry that people can't read a certain format, etc. That is all fully accessible. One of the good things about the projects is it is unlimited storage, and I find I'm using that storage a lot more than a lot of the other competitor project like storage, just because it's unlimited and I've got that access. I'm now going to go in and actually demonstrate how this is all accessed via Revu. Go through a lot of these items and show how it works. So I'm just going to open up my copy of Revu. This is it here. I don't currently have anything open. And what we're focusing on today, again, like I said, is that the real sessions and the studio itself. So studio is accessible here in your panel access. Again, I'm not really doing a point and click demo, more showing the capability. One thing I do want to point out is that there are many servers. The Australian server did only come out in the last year or two. It has been a great addition. So a lot of government sensitive projects, etc. The data is being stored in Australia, and it does provide a lot of that security that companies required. It does have those certificates, etc. So it is verified that it's all staying in Australia. You can use the different servers, but obviously use the Australian one if you're in Australia. You can sign in. Now, again, if you have Bluebeam, you have access to Studio. It's not an add-in or anything. It is contained in a normal standard license of Bluebeam. You do need to create an account. So you can go in through here, through create account. You do just need to create your account with your name, email, and password, and you will be able to create your account. They will send you a link to verify it, and then you can come in, sign in. And I will sign in now, and that will sign me into the Australian server. I can see this is what I was talking about before. We do have the projects, and we also have studio sessions. Now, studio sessions are the real live collaboration. So this is where we can store a document in the cloud. We can all cache a copy of that document. You can see here that this is confirming that I'm connected. You can disconnect and still make changes or access that cached document. When you get internet connection back, it will basically sync and push all your comments and download the new ones. These days, you'd probably pretty much have to be on Antarctica to not have that internet access. but generally you'll always be connected. So I'm just going to start with a session. I do have like a housing session here that I have started. You can see here I've got my set of documents. You can add additional documents and files as well. I currently have just an architectural set of documents here. You can see the attendees. So I'm in the project now. There are 2 other attendees that are currently offline. You can invite more people. So there's a little invite here where I can add in addresses, etc., or use my address book and then invite them. I do have this session restricted via email address. You can change the settings and come in and change these settings, and you can change the attendees and add more attendees and or restrict attendees by those email addresses. I noticed you're online. So you can set the different attendees to different people as well. So you can give them access to full control of the documents, markup alert, etc. One of the things about this too is you can actually add an expiry date to the session. So you can add an expiration onto the session. Now, I have used this a lot in drawing offices in the past. What I find it's a great thing to do so that you can have a set of drawings. You can open up comments to everyone. You might be going, well, we really want to issue these for construction on the Friday. So I'm going to let everyone make their comments. Everyone's got to have their comments in by the Wednesday afternoon. And I can put an expiry date on that. I can always change that as well. So being the host of the session, I always have that access to it, so I can extend the date, extend that time limit. So it's just a good way to almost have that one set of documents where people, and then basically close the door so that you don't have an endless session. Again, you can manage the notifications if you want to be notified, etc. You do get the record down here, and this is quite valuable because it almost keeps like the minutes of the collaboration. You can see the file does always have the little studio session whiteboard at the front to show that it's a studio session file. And you can see the minutes here from when I first created the session. People joined in, they've added clouds, etc. I can click on items that people have done and it will highlight that straight away. So you can see that Brett has put on a cloud to please review that area. You can also see where people have replied to that. So I can access this as well through the markups list. So I can access that comment. You can see here that Brett's put on, please review that area. And I can comment back that it looks okay to me, etc. And you'll see that all the comments, the authors, etc. are being tracked. One of the good things as well is the security of that document. So I can't come in and change this cloud. So I can't retype on that. You know, to not review it or delete his cloud, I can't do it because it's locked to him. So it's quite good. It does retain those items. You can change the status. So again, this cloud here, again, if I select that, that will take me straight to it. You can see it's highlighted up. Funnily enough, I have made this comment. So yes, I can come in and actually change that. And change that comment because it was my comment. You can see again where I've replied to that with new comments. So one that's been approved, etc. You can see that you can set the status. So you can set that it's been completed and you can set that and it will who set it. It'll note who set it and what time and date. These can always be exported as well, these reports. So you can export these reports and get a full report out of that whole document, which is great for those like legal reasons. So that if, you know, if this went out to the owner, for instance, and we've seen that the client wants different lights and that they then have approved that downlight type A, we can see who actually noted that, who was the author of that comment and what time and date. So when that, it just avoids that confusion because, you know, in 6 months time when they go out, no, I wanted a different type of light, we can see here that that has been accepted and it's been set by that author. So it really, you know, decreases that liability on items. Yep, so we can get that report out of the comments, etc. So I can do that now. I can basically export a report out. I can get that in many different forms, so I can get a PDF summary. We're able to really sort and filter those comments. So I could come in here and I could go, well, I really just want to see any of the comments that I have made. So I could turn them off and get just my comments. Choose how I want that to output. So I'm just going to output that as a PDF and then open that PDF and OK. And I'll get that report straight out. So you can see where it's basically, I've got every comment that I've made and even my replies to those comments, etc. So it's quite a good accessible way to get those comments out. When we close the session, you can basically get this full report out and store that with the session. So it's held there whenever you need to look at it. So this is an architectural set. You can see by the thumbnails, it is a multi-page PDF. So we can store that up. Again, you can go through it. You do need to basically set it up beforehand. So any hyperlinks or things like that, you do need to do. Always a good idea to set that up before you put it into a session. Again, we can basically, you can add files into this. It is a good idea to add like sort of a tool set into this so that those people can access how you want the comments made. We can use our own tool set here. I do have some comments where I can put like basically a cloud plus to add to the drawing. I might go to that second page and I can add a comment cloud, and I can put that cloud over the stairs and put a comment up using my tool sets very quickly, and put review type stair. And again, you can see that that is being tracked in here. The comments, the time, author, etc. So that's all being tracked through this session. You can alert people to markups as well. So I might go, well, I really want someone to pay attention to this markup and I probably really want that answer today. So I can select my markup and I can right click and I can actually alert an attendee. Choose that attendee, select them and send that alert. They will get an email where it does contain an image of the markup, and they will also get a hyperlink directly to this session that they can click on. Once they log into the session, it will take them straight into it. So it's a great way to be able to just get answers to questions quickly. There is a chat feature as well. So there is a chat feature in the session where you can chat directly to people. Obviously, we would want those people in the session to chat with. I'm probably going to be a bit lonely if I start trying to talk to myself. So I can do that through there. You can set your own status. So you can have a whole bunch of custom statuses through here. You can say that you're finished or that you're even awaiting comments from someone. So you can put in that you're waiting for someone's input. Again, this can all be changed. So I can say waiting for Brett's input. So just at a glance, you can see straight away what my status is and who I'm waiting for, etc., or if I'm finished. So you can put up still reviewing or finished, and just at a glance, you can see that. So that's a session, and again, you can put up multiple documents. So you can even put up a 3D PDF, which everyone can sort of access and look at as well. So you can have multiple different types of PDFs in a session. I'm now going to go through projects. So again, I can just simply hit that here. There is like if you unrestrict the session, again, you can send that link and they'll get a hyperlink and they can access it. Or you can just simply give someone this number and they can actually enter a project by that number. So you'll see in here, I can join a new session. So, and I can add a session through here. I'm going to go to projects now. So projects is where you can basically have up all your information. So you can have up images, etc. I do have my housing one here. I will just close that a little bit so we can see it a bit clearer and close that summary. You can see I can have different folders up here that contain a lot of different information. So I can have my drawings and my architectural set. I can have my owner manuals and have different manuals for different items. So I've got like a, I don't know, dishwasher one in here or something. Again, I can access it and just open that up side by side, and you can see I've got the full specification available. At the moment, this is, I've got that checked out. So I do have a little, I can check that back in and update it, or I can undo my checkout and just access that in read only. So I can undo the checkout and it puts a lock on it. So I am just reading the document now. And with that lock, it's just basically locked. I'm just accessing that information. If I did want to make a change, I can make changes quite quickly. So again, I can check that out. I can make changes to this and I can put it back up. I can restore the version in that as well. So if I do check that out, for instance, I can put a highlight over the safety information. I can then check that back in. Put a comment on it. What I might do is actually, I can update the server copy. I will just check it in and I can put safety updated. That's if I can spell safety right, which I'm probably not too worried about. And check it back in. That's going to check in the new updated version. I can restore previous versions, etc. So I can see the revision history. I can see there's one that was originally added, and then there's the latest one where I've got the safety updated. So I can actually go back and open the previous revision or restore the revision. So I can open that previous revision where you'll see I don't have that signed off. So you can see the two different versions there. One's got the highlight and the other one doesn't. I do have it synced up, so it's following me along, but I think I've deleted out one of the pages. So that's through there. You can put up anything. So that was a PDF. I can store up images as well. So I do have like a 3D image, again, which I can open and access just the JPEG files. So that's storing JPEGs. So, again, more specifications. Again, that happens to be PDF format, all my warranties, etc. So you can store this up. Again, you can change the settings of it. So you can make sure that everyone wants to access that information, etc. So I can restrict users, restrict them by email, or have users unrestricted and give them the address of the housing webinar, or just email it to them and they'll get that access. Again, with permissions, you might want, there's certain folders, so you can actually hide folders. So you can go to the properties. You can actually hide the folders from different people going in and changing the settings, etc. Folder permissions. So I could create, I've got the root there, but I could grab my photos, for instance, and I could make sure that they're hidden, and even sort in sort of different groups. So I could have a different group and go, well, the marketing people don't really need to access the specifications. So I'll, you know, hide that folder from them, or like the marketing, like, you know, the builder may not need to know the marketing photos. So I can hide them from the architects group, etc. Whatever I needed to do. So it's just a good way of getting that control over the whole project to make sure that people can access the relevant information. So that's sessions and projects in a bit of a nutshell. Like, to add documents up is quite easy as well. You can add information from a set of drawings straight up to a session. So if I do go to this owner's manual, for instance, that I was using before, I can select that and I can actually add that to a new session, which will allow that to then be that collaboration source. Now, at the moment, because this is in a project, it's really only like check in, check out. So only one person can access and amend that document at a time. Everyone can access it and read it, but if you are making changes to it, you do need to check it out and then check it back in when you're finished with it. Very much like almost a library procedure. You take the book out, do what you want with it, and you can put it back up. Don't do what you want with books from libraries. So I can right click and add that to a session, and that will then basically download a session of that. I can give the name, etc. So I'm just going to call it delete me, just so I remember to delete it, and okay. And that will basically make the session. You can see now that it's actually in session. And if I access it, it's basically a session. So I can access it as well through my projects at the top here. So if I do go to my studio, I can go to a studio session and actually have that and access that document here. So this is now a studio session where I can do whatever changes I wish. And then once I'm finished, I can close the session and reload that back up or check it back in once everyone has contributed fully to the document. So it's a great way to have everyone in that one document being able to make all the changes together and load that back up into the project. Projects are great. We can also, with the project, this can be like stored for eternity. So eternity is probably a long word, but you can store that up there and have that almost as a project closeout. We can close the project, so you can select and close the project. Basically download that full report and all the drawings and all the items available. They do have an expiry. Basically, if you don't access it for 6 months, you will get warnings as the host saying that it hasn't been accessed. We're looking at closing it, etc. You can get it back, but you will have the opportunity as soon as you use it. If it hasn't been used for 6 months or so, you will get a bit of a warning. That's particular with sessions. If sessions haven't been used, they do have a bit of an expiry date where a project does not. I'll just go through the chat and see some questions. So you can see that Michael's put up some tips as well. You can follow another participant in a session. So at the moment, there is sort of actually no one in this session apart from myself. But you can follow and do a bit of a screen share as well. There are also some other questions from people that I've seen. So what limits can you put on people in that studio project? So again, in a project, you can change those settings. So you can go back to the housing webinar, etc. And as I showed, you do have those project settings and the permissions. So you can change permissions of attendees, particular attendees, and deny or give them access. It's all very email based and that single sign on. So it's that's how it's picking the people, and you can deny them access, etc. Can you put a time limit on sessions? Yes, you can. So as I showed before, you can have that session expiry, which again is a valuable tool. And yeah, and that's like Michael's just saying there in the chat, it does really stop the overrun, or it stops everything just being open-ended. So if you do put those expiration dates on it, you can say, look, everyone's got 2 weeks to comment. After that 2 weeks, it's being shut. Get your comments in by that Friday, and then that's on record and we can action it. And you can give everyone like that expiry and save that overrun. Can you create multiple stages of the project in one session, or does a session need to be created for each stage? So typically you would have a session for each release of documents. So like for this housing set I've got here, you would send that document up for comment, and then you would sort of save that or finish that off. And once there was a new document, so it went out for construction, for instance, that would be a new session. So I would create a session for each stage of release. Obviously, you can, like I was showing in the project, you can have those different versions. So if you do have your drawings up here, you can have like your tender set, and then you can update a new revision and that be your construction set, etc. Do all users need a license or review to be invited to a project? And again, like I said, I think that's one of the best features of Bluebeam Studio, is that users do not need a licensed copy of Bluebeam to participate fully in both sessions and projects. They can't create new sessions, and they can't just access if a document, well, they can access read documents if they're not in a session, but in a session, they have full access to all those features. So I think it's a great thing, especially if you're like that head contractor or the one that's leading the project and hosting all those sessions. You can rest assured that everyone, if they don't use Bluebeam, they can download the Bluebeam. They will get a link. When they do get invited to the session, they will get an email with basically a link to download Bluebeam, and they'll get a link to that session, which they can use like for free. They get basically full rights for the first, I think, 30 days. And then after that, it will go to view mode, but they can still participate fully in a session. So they can make markups, respond to markups, etc. So it is a great feature. Just going back to our sort of PowerPoints. So I'm quite happy if anyone's got any other questions to put them in now as we speak through, but we are the Bluebeam provider, Cloud A2K. We do discovery sessions, so we can come in. A lot of it's done remote, as you're probably aware these days. So we can basically see what your workflows are currently and really show you how Bluebeam can improve that, and really, again, give you those measurable benefits where you will, like with more jobs, with improved build quality and shorter bid creation times. You can reduce that time spent on the manual processes, errors, rework, overrun, confusion, etc., and really reduce that risk of your time and budget overruns with access to always the current information. So no one's going there going, well, what flooring did they put on? And we need to go back and change that. It can all be there. You're really stopping people asking the same question 5 times over. Someone's also got a comment there about, can I show how to attach a tool chest to drawing sets? So you sort of need to do this all very much in the stage where you're setting up where you're initially setting up the PDF to then be hosted in a session. So if I do go back just quickly, I can just open up any file and I'll just open up a recent one. Just a set of drawings I did, just a test set. So if I do want to put a different file format in there, again, I can tool and insert. I can put a file attachment, and I can use anyone through here. Funnily enough, I'm probably not going to be able to put my hands straight on a tool set. I know I've got them somewhere, but I'm actually using a Revit file here. That's 6.5 meg. I might just use a smaller one. That's only 600 kilobytes. I could put the 6.5 one up there and open and basically insert that PDF. Now, what I like to do as well is actually add a bit more information here. So I'll actually put a text box as well. And I'll have that up and have that. This is the file. Again, I'm sort of not using so again, I can change this symbol itself, change the shape, the type, etc. And I can put on that this is our Revit file. And that has basically hosted that tool set in there. So I can access that. I can change the icon, have it a bit a bit bigger as well and have that Revit file there. And then that file is actually on there, which they can then access. So if they double click that, I'm probably not going to do it because it will open up my Revit, etc. But you can browse to that location and store that in. So again, someone's after reports from the number of attendees in Excel format. So if you're trying to get those reports out, so you can export like the minutes of the record as well. So you can get out the record just of that session. So if I went to the session, I can actually go to the report here. So I think that's what you might be trying to do. Like rather than actually export the markups themselves, I'm actually after this report where I can get a full record summary. Again, you can choose what columns you want to get and include your attendee list, etc. So you can get that out as a full record summary. This one's going to be pretty anemic because there's not much information on it because I just did that, joined the session, added the details, etc. If you're trying to get comments like that out to like so I'm just going to leave this session here and I'm going to go to the housing one again. So this has got a lot more comments in it and open up that architectural set. So this has got a lot more of those comments in it. And again, I can get out a markup list through here, so I can export out. Again, I can get that CSV summary. So that's what I use when I'm trying to get stuff out to Excel formula. So again, you do need, I've got CSVs that will open automatically with that CSV format. So I'm going to make sure I open the file after completion. Again, you can really filter this, like include just your markups or what you want to include. I'm just going to grab every column. I can filter and sort it, etc. Sort it by subject, comments, who the author was, etc. I can save these configurations as well. So if I do have like a typical one, and okay. And you can see this is probably going to be pretty ugly, but you can see how I'm getting all that information straight out in Excel. And then you've got the power of Excel as well. Now, Bluebeam itself is quite powerful. So it's like I usually do, you can do formulas and the like in Excel, in Bluebeam itself. But here again, you've got that ability to come through and to sort by author and again, get just my comments, etc. So you're able to get that Excel out very quickly, as you've just seen. You can change your comments, columns, etc. Again, just feel free to put in any questions you want. Just again, we do rapid starts for companies as well. So after we really come in and discover how we can improve your workflows, we can do rapid start and integrations where we can provide training. So we can provide different sessions. I like the idea, like we do like sort of lunch and learns and 2-hour Blueburst sessions, where we can go through a particular workflow, go through it with your staff and really improve. And like Bluebeam's fantastic and every company should use it. Sometimes it's like the thing like, yes, they should use it, but is it being used enough? So we can really come in and do Blueburst, which will really engage your staff and get them using it properly and using it well and having that confidence and just being able to pick it up and run with it. It is pretty intuitive. Especially once you set up tool sets and the like, you don't need to set them up. You can push a tool set out to everyone where you can have those easy access to comments, etc. And make sure that everyone's really standardizing that item. So that's Blueburst. We can also construct manuals, etc. So that's the end of it. So please feel free to put through any questions. I will stay online for a good 5 minutes. Thank you for your attendance. Please contact us at info@cloudA2k.com. Visit our website, clouda2k.com, or call us. We are the platinum partner of Bluebeam, and we're quite happy to help you out in any Bluebeam related matters. Thank you for your time, and please keep in touch and reach out to clouda2k. Thank you.